Okay, I'm going live right now. I need to invite Monica in here. This is my first time doing this, so let's see how this goes. Okay, inviting Monica. Hello, people waving. Let's see.
Did we do it? Oh my gosh,
We did
hold
it.
on. It's blocking my face though. Live. So why can't this thing? Something's blocking my face. Hold on just a second.
Okay,
There,
I can see you.
go live. Okay. Just 1 second. Wish I could show. Go.
My heart's like racing. You just went away. I saw you, now you're gone. Monica, where'd you go?
Okay.
You're back.
So I am here and present, but my face is completely blocked by this invitation. Yeah.
Oh, weird. Yeah, because I can see you. If anyone who's
Yeah.
watching can just like be like, "Hey, we see you both," just to let us
Yes.
know.
I mean, I just
Yeah.
can't see me, which is
Let's see.
which is okay. But it should, maybe it'll just disappear. It's like a big, it says Abby wants you to be live in this video. And then here we are. Also, I'm so excited to see you, so I don't even care if my face is blocked.
I know.
You're up
Do you
top,
just can you
and
see
then
me?
I can see my forehead. Like if I go like this, I can see my mouth. It's so weird.
Okay, yeah, maybe
I'm like a
it'll go
grandma with
away.
technology, so of course this is happening. I'm like, how do you do this?
Okay, someone can see both of our
Okay, great.
faces,
I'm
so
just
we're
gonna roll with
solid.
it. Was not seeing. I just have to. If I just see you, that's fine.
I can see your guitar in the background and some
Woo!
awesome art on the wall.
Your earrings.
Yay! Hello,
The moment
Monica.
I've been waiting for. Feels like Christmas morning.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Okay,
FaceTiming.
this is weird because I've never. Yes, we're just FaceTiming. I've never done this before in IG Live, so thank you anyone for being patient while both of us are just doing this. And I just wanted it to be like a just a natural, organic conversation. And while yeah, recording it for anyone that wants to uh, throw in questions at any time. And because, yeah, I really want it to be a space where people can feel comfortable and safe for asking anything that comes up for them. And because that's a big part of why I want to share this is to, I feel like I've done just like a lot of inward journeys in the last several years, like 8, 9, 10 years, and I really haven't shared a lot of it on social media. So this is like my kind of like becoming and stepping into myself of wanting to just like put it out there more and share it more in the hopes that it can help people or enlighten anyone on things maybe they didn't know about previously. And yeah, one of my biggest intentions with this is I just want the
Oh,
world to see how cool Monica is.
at
And
least you can see more
yeah.
than my forehead. I'm literally just staring at my forehead. This is it's a very humbling experience on this end. It feels like a lesson.
Well, when you threw your arms up, I could see your tats and stuff too, just because that looked
You
awesome.
see him?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, love it. Yeah.
Oh man. I
How are you
am
doing?
lovely. I was just like looking forward to this all week because I just could not wait to hear about your experience. And you've been back for a week, right?
Yeah, I think it's a week today, so my body's still adjusting. Like I've been like when I was traveling in Peru for 2 weeks after the like big ayahuasca experience, I went right into like hiking
Mm-hmm.
through the Andes for several days, which I'll share more about in my stories and stuff later. But I think the like tiredness is kind of kicking in right now, just being like in my home space. Like I'm in my bedroom right now, my sacred
Yes.
space, standing on my yoga mat. And yeah. And so I think naturally my body's probably, it's integrating that whole big month-long experience. And yeah, like it's just naturally when I'm in my like very safe space, I feel kind of that like tiredness. I mean, I feel really, I'm like, ooh, my whole body's like electrocuted right now talking to you, like as it
I feel
normally
the
is.
same.
But yeah, when I woke up this morning, I was like, oh, my eyes are kind of tired. And, I guess I'm still adjusting even though it's been
Oh
a
my
week.
gosh. I feel like I just have so many questions. Yes.
Do you want to ask
They're just
them?
gonna come to, yeah, like I kind of want to start from like the beginning and then make the way, but yeah, how was it just entering space like before taking, did you have a few days before you took it? Like you were in, did you like set up, were you like with a group? Like what's, like, I just need like a visual, like take me through what that was like before
Yeah.
and then, yeah, I just want to hear it all.
Yeah. And that's the thing I was thinking about. Like, this is completely
Oh yeah.
unplanned for anybody watching. Like I did write down questions. There's like a few people that messaged me privately and commented on my last post with really insightful questions that could not possibly be answered like with my thumbs. And so I just like wrote them down and didn't plan at all how I'm going to answer it. And was just like, I just want to be completely like authentic and raw in the moment. And um, so yeah, so like maybe it'll start from beginning to end. Maybe it'll kind of be like this, and that's yeah. and and that was so much of like what my kind of like downloads were, like a big part of my experience during the retreat while I was under the influence, or whatever you want to call it, like under the influence of the medicine while drinking ayahuasca. And while I wasn't drinking it, even though it's still working through your body, like outside of the ceremony space. But a big part of that experience was just like the feminine and embracing the feminine. And a big part of that was the realization that the feminine is not linear, and that I don't need to come to a space and like
Yes.
plan everything I'm going to say.
That
Like,
was what we were coming
and
into.
yeah.
Because it, like, yeah, I was even thinking
Exactly.
about it before this, like, oh, like whenever I get into that space, like little anxieties start to come up. It's like, oh, what am I gonna say? And it's like, can you just trust that it's gonna, also like when we talk on the phone, it just like organically unfolds. It's like, can you just trust that and trust yourself?
Exactly.
Yes.
Aww,
Yes.
thank
I
you for
still only
that.
see my forehead, but I'll let you know if that changes.
It,
Thank you.
it's a beautiful forehead. Yeah, but I see more than your forehead, so you're just like
Maybe
connecting with the
that's
third
what it
eye while you
is.
talk. That's all.
You need to see in this is my third eye, or all I need to see. Yeah.
Sometimes Instagram knows stuff, I
No,
guess.
but that's beautiful. So that's like what you were
But
feeling like throughout the whole experience. Like that was like the main message you were getting.
I'd say I can't say it was the main message because it really came towards the end of the retreat, where like the like massive feminine downloads were coming in, where I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my gosh, like okay, like I didn't even know what the hell that phrase meant, like the feminine's not linear. I don't even think I like knew what that meant until being under the influence of ayahuasca, since like ayahuasca is a feminine energy
Mm.
too. It's like grandmother energy, which I have been needing and wanting because I'm pretty disconnected from like my grandparents and grandmother energy, and just wanted to, yeah, I just like, I need that like wisdom of a grandma to like tell me what's up with life and how to navigate relationships. And I had a lot of different intentions. But okay, going back to kind of what you said with maybe laying a little bit of a foundation of the experience, like, so I signed up for this in January. I follow a woman on, I actually found this experience on Instagram, which is seems so crazy and awesome at the same time that you can find these things on Instagram. And that's what I want to use this platform to, for just like a very intentional space rather than mindlessly scrolling, which I see has a benefit for people today. But I personally use it as a very intentional, mindful space. And yeah, I found this experience through this woman on Instagram, signed up in January. She actually had to, I found out during the retreat that she had 300 applicants, and she hand selected this group of 10.
That's amazing.
And so I was like, wow, that makes me feel special. And it also made sense because throughout the experience, I was like, these are the coolest people ever. Like, I have had, I'd say it's like a theme in my life to where it's been difficult to find people that really want to like dive deeper and talk about bigger things in life. And I mean, like, I can get down with the superficial and stuff too. Like, I'm from the Midwest. The first thing we talk about is the weather, you know, but and that's just why I love you, is because we, I mean, a million reasons, but one of a million is how we can like talk about all just life and reality and get to the truth of stuff, but then, you know, ponder things. And yeah, I just, those are the types of people I really like, I really resonate with. And so we had a group of these types of people, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just feel so comfortable. And it was so easy to just have conversations with these strangers. And, you know, we were able to talk for the first, I think it was like day and a half. So we all gathered as a group. I arrived in Peru several days early because I wanted to allow time to adjust, and it's a big travel. It's like 27 hours of travel to go all the way from far north, Missoula, Montana, all the way down to Peru. So I was like, oh, I just really want to be well rested. This is going to be like a lot of energy coming at me, and I want to be like fully rested, like well eaten, you know, like with food, and so I can just be like, yeah, just take this big journey on. And so like a group of 10 of us, maybe it was 11, I think it was 10. I'm just going to say 10. It was 10 of us that met in Peru, and then we traveled with our main facilitator and another one of the facilitators out. Like, we met in the city, and then we had to drive 2 hours in this like truck on like crazy roads, and then got brought to a river, and then we had to take a little boat as a group, like down
Pocahontas.
Yeah, it's called the I know.
I'm just like I'm like playing a music video in my mind while you're saying this. I'm like, wow. Yes, and also like,
thanks for your presence.
Like looking at your pictures too, it looked very authentic. Like you were with like the locals too, which is amazing.
Yeah, and it's cool to hear what people's perception of it was, because that is exactly why it took me 10 years to find this experience. Like, I think from the outside, Instagram, like, it's such a quick thing, and social media, we see like, oh, Abby went to Peru, okay, but like this was actually 10 years in the making, at least. I mean, I would say probably my whole life, really, but it's been since like my early 20s. I knew I needed to go to Peru, didn't question it, and I had always had this like vision of working with some older woman that just like calls me and is like, here's ayahuasca, and yes, exactly. And then I was like, okay, I'll be smart about it and not just like plop myself in Peru and wait for this old woman to find me. Like, I'll do some research. And it took me 10 years to find the experience that matched my tuition and what I hoped for. And I see that there's like big touristy experiences you can do, which, you know, maybe that's what you want to do, and that's super cool. And for me, I was like, I really want it to be as authentic and local and, you know, appropriate as possible. And appropriate meaning like kind of like culturally appropriate, I guess. And um, so yeah, we were like in the jungle in a place where like the ayahuasca grows naturally, and that's where the medicine has grown for hundreds of years.
What does it
and maybe
look like?
thousands,
What
I
does
don't
the
know.
plant look
And
like?
it, it's a
Oh.
vine. So in the latest post I have, maybe on like the second to last slide, I think, second or third to last slide, I have a 1 minute video of a guy talking in Spanish, and that's of two guys talking in Spanish, and they are like beating the
Whoa.
ayahuasca vine. So it looks like a swirly brown, like
Do
hardy
you just
wood.
eat it? Like, how do
And
you? I,
yeah,
I'm just like picturing you taking off the vine, just
yeah.
taking a chomp like beef jerky. Like, what was it? What was it like? Are you
I love
saying
beef jerky, by the way.
the visual I got? Just like,
Uh, so there's like a whole process to it. And okay, I should probably put a disclaimer out there that I do not know everything. I do not know everything about this experience. And this is my first time doing it. And there are people who have dedicated their entire lives to this life-changing practice. And here I am, just like a newbie human talking to humans about my experience. So I can tell you the best of my ability of how to make ayahuasca, but I definitely, you know, I might say something
well, you
that's
know
not
what?
completely
That's the part
accurate.
of us that's human. We don't know everything, and we just share our experience, and
exactly.
that's all we can do. Yep.
Thank you. So what I saw and what they taught me was, so it's two plants combined. So it's the ayahuasca vine, and then it's the leaves of a plant called chacruna, and that's what has DMT in it, I'm pretty sure is how it works. And so the combination of chacruna, this other jungle plant, with ayahuasca, they boil it in this big pot for days, sometimes like 2 to 3 days, and with water. So it's just like they put the plants in there, put the water in there. What I saw where I was, they boiled it over a fire, like right in front of us, and we ingested that medicine that was like made right there, and just kept boiling it down, having to add more water, and then boiling it down until it turns into this black liquid. So it's like, yeah, it's like kind of thick. And I had heard that some people that I follow on Instagram and stuff that talk about ayahuasca regularly, they were like, "Oh, it tastes horrible.
What
It's
did
so
it
horrible." But I actually really
like?
liked the taste of it. I don't even. It's unique to itself, but I feel like I'm so bad at describing flavors and stuff. But in the moment, it kind of tasted like licorice.
That's like what I had in mind. Also,
like black licorice.
It's like really random and not even any sort of relevance, but talking about taste, I have this like meme picture on my fridge, and it says sparkling water tastes like when your leg falls asleep. And why does that make so much sense?
Yeah.
Talking about the taste of things, like that just came to mind. But
that's probably what I need.
So at least it doesn't taste like
that.
a leg falling asleep. It tastes like an
sense.
actual type of food. So that's
yeah. And so, okay, yeah, so kind of going back to the like experience from sort of beginning, middle to end. Like, so we were with the group, and then we kind of had some time to adjust. We each got our own little casitas.
Oh yeah,
they're called, like little
that was
bungalow
amazing. When
homes.
I saw that picture, I was like, I want to teleport there right now. Just so simple. Just like nothing. Oh, it was beautiful.
Exactly. Just a bed, a comfortable bed, and a net. and everything's made out of wood, and yeah, it was really nice. And like we had a broom, so like had the practice of like physically sweeping out the dirt every day, but also just like clearing the energy, and had our water right there. And that was like a perk to me. I was like, oh cool, we have water right here, because you have to boil your water in Peru. And a question that somebody asked, that I think it's nice to know you can like ask really simple questions too. Like one of my friends asked me, she's like, where did you go to the bathroom? And there's I mean, you could just go right outside, but there was like people around and stuff, so there was like a separate facility that I had to walk down to. It was like a 5-minute walk down that they had built in there. Have you ever seen compost toilets?
Yep. And
yeah,
yep.
where you like put the sawdust
my dad
over
has
it.
One. He made one. So like, yeah, he works in his barn, and then he goes to his little compost toilet. I think it's, now I'm questioning. I'm pretty sure it's the compost one, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're awesome. And so yeah, it's just kind of like a hole, and then you go, and then they have a bucket of sawdust there to cover up your stuff, to help like break it down and to hide
it's
smell.
Like the spray, like the poopery,
yeah,
but it's natural. The compost instead. Yes.
Exactly, but
literally.
It's the real shit. Yeah.
No, I love that.
And yeah, and so yeah, we had that first day to kind of adjust, and then I believe it was, I'm not good at like, I don't pay attention, I'm not like at super detail oriented. I kind of see like the bigger picture, so I don't remember like on day 1 this happened, on day 2 this happened, but I think it was day 2-ish or something. And that's when we like entered into the silence and being on our own, and like the isolation, I guess. And they called this the opening of the dieta. So, well, first we had an ayahuasca ceremony at night, and then the following day, based off how the ayahuasca ceremony went, whatever that means, I don't know if they like read your energy and just like kind of see how you are, and they then assign you one of 2 plants to drink daily, and that's where I got assigned bobine sana, which I had never heard of before. And it is, I was so excited, because when they were in my latest post, I have a little like a 1-minute snippet of them talking about like the energy of the plant. And there's like research online too of what it does physically. Like it's good for, I think, like arthritis or something. And yeah, it's just good for like the joints and inflammation in your body. And then energetically, they talk about how it's like a major heart opener. It connects you with the feminine. It's the spirit of the dolphins and the mermaids. And it, yeah, and it was so interesting because I didn't realize this until later when I came home and was researching it more. So bobine sana grows all along the rivers. Like that's where you can find it, is that it's like they had it growing in the jungle where we were, but I didn't see it along, I didn't know that it's like known for growing along rivers. And my experience with ingesting it every day, like all I wanted to do was be in the river. And I love water, but this is the most where I was just like, I need to be in the water all day, every day. Like why would I be anywhere else? Amen. This is the best place to be. And yeah, and it was kind of frightening, because it's like, okay, so first of all, I thought I was in the Amazon, but it turns out the Amazon is a little more north or something. So like the river, the Ucayali River that I was on, I think it starts in the Amazon, or like it goes through the Amazon, but the exact spot that we were at was called the Ucayali region, which is a different part than the Amazon. But there were moments where I was just like, okay, like I'm in the jungle of Peru. I don't know, like what, like are there poisonous snakes out here? Like I don't know what's gonna happen. And when I was in the water, there were like these little fishies. Do they eat your feet? You know, they like not eat your feet, but like do they like massage? Yeah. Like, do they eat the dead skin that like Asian culture uses. Exactly. And it was actually super uncomfortable at first, because I'm sensitive, and the sensation of them eat, like they were going all over my body, like stomach, my legs, and like there were like tons of little ones. And I was like, at first I was like, oh no, like this is too much. And then I feel like I got used to the fish got used to me, and then I just kind of like settled into it. Because I was like, I'm not going to let these fish not let
Yeah,
me
obviously didn't
enjoy
have
this
very good
water.
boundaries. You're like, if you could just stick with my feet
Yeah.
down, please.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, we had that first ayahuasca ceremony, and it's the real deal. And like we had 3 facilitators, each from different, I think the word is tribe. I'm not exactly sure if that's the right word. And like, I think
Sounds like it.
it's tribe. So they're from 3 different tribes. Yeah, they each have their own native tongue, their own native language. And there's just like, there's so much rich culture in Peru. And um, they come from their own lineages, and they all met together in this space for us. And they where do I even like begin? So they administer the medicine one by one. Like, first of all, we're in this thing called a maloca. It's like a circular wood space dedicated just to experiencing ayahuasca, and it's done at night. So ayahuasca
How
is
long
traditionally
does
ingested
it
in the
last for?
evening.
Like, what's like the
It depends.
like when do you? This is my burning question. When do you start feeling it, and then like how long does it last?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's a whole process to it, and um, we were supposed to meet in the Maloka, that space, that ceremony space, at I think it was like 7 or 7:30 p.m. And we're supposed to wear all white, which helps the facilitators. I was taught the word shaman was not the right word. So now, then I like when I read about it, I see people using the word shaman. They taught us that the word for them is called maestro or maestra, like teacher. So I'm just going to use that word. So the maestro, they, yeah, we get there at, okay, so we get there at 7 or 7:30 p.m. We're wearing all white. So the maestro can like read your energy better. And just to like go in pure and cleanse, like cleansing is a big part of the process. People puke, people like poop, and so it's just like energetically and physically cleanses you. And so we sat in silence, which I feel like for me, my experience was that silence was used to just like feel the moment of like, holy shit, this is happening. And to like I used that space to set my intentions. And I also went into it like I did like an hour of yoga and an hour of breath work, and I needed that to just like fully drop into my body, and which then cleared my mind to be like, okay, why am I here? What am I doing? Like, what do I really want to get out of this experience? And so yeah, so I sit there for like 30 to 45 minutes, and then one by one they call you up, and you sit in front of the maestro. It's in the night, which I feel so comforted by the nighttime. Like, I really liked that. And because then it's like nobody can see me, and maybe I could see how for some people that could be maybe scary, but for me it just feels so comforting, because I'm like, yeah, I can just be whatever I am, and whatever comes up, I'm just gonna let it come up, and nobody can like, I'm not on a spotlight. And so it was like dark. They had one candle lit in the center, and you like go to the front, you sit in front of the maestro. I think they like bless it, say some prayers, and then you like take it back. And it's like in this like shot glass kind of thing. Yeah. It's in this like wood shot glass thing, and yeah, they like pour the liquid in there, and basically, no chaser. You just drink it back. You like go, and like, whoa, okay. And and I think even like every piece of it is so intentional. They're like, I think they're reading my energy to know how much medicine to give me. And then you go and sit back on your little cot. Like, each person has their own space, their own cot on the floor. And then you just sit, and they say it takes like 45 minutes to activate. Yeah. So that could be like super anxiety producing, I'm sure, for some. It could be like, I don't know if anyone, you've experimented with like mushrooms, or there's that like waiting, there's the waiting for it to take hit and or take effect. And especially since this was my first time, I didn't know what I was waiting for. And I've read like some people have hallucinations, some people don't, some people don't even feel anything at all. And but they say to just trust the medicine, that it goes to exactly where it needs to go in your body. And it's, even if you don't feel anything, just trust that it is taking effect in some way. And yeah, so it takes like 45 minutes to take effect, and then after those 45 minutes they then start to sing. So one by one, I have no idea how much music was a part of the experience.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And yes, so each maestra that was there, one of them, well, there was 4 really. The main facilitator, Shri, from what I understand, she uses the word curandera, which is like a healer. She's Mexican. And the other 3, another woman, she is from a certain tribe, and the other 2 are from another ethnicity tribe, and they each sang in some of their native tongue. And so like one by one they take turns singing, and these songs are meant to like make the ayahuasca come out. Like it helps the medicine to just work. There's no way I can know exactly what these teachers who've been doing this for years, like what their training and experience is, but they're called Icaros, like Icaros. And this Icaro or Icaros, that's the song they use to connect with the medicine, to help it then work in each of us that are in that room together. And I had read before I went that sometimes the teachers drink the medicine, sometimes they don't. So I asked, like, do you guys drink the ayahuasca too? And they were like, yeah, how would we be able to connect, and like we wouldn't know what you guys are going through then if we didn't drink it too. So I was like, oh, interesting. They don't drink as much, I don't think, but they drink a small amount, which then like helps them to connect with the medicine, with that particular
at the same
brew
time
that we're all drinking
like you
together.
guys all take at the same time, or do they take it?
It was one by one. Actually, I couldn't tell when they drank it. I was like trying to look in the dark and see when the facilitators drank it, and there was one sitting next to me, and I saw when she drank it at the end, like after we had all already drank it. And then so I'm wondering if they don't drink it until after we all drink it, but I'm not sure. So, but it is one by one. And yeah, so some people start to feel it then, and then, but for me in my first ceremony, I really didn't feel much. Like I actually got super tired. And they say you should like sit upright, like you just sit there and you have
can't
your
get
eyes
up
closed.
and dance.
And
Okay.
you can, and yeah,
like
don't worry, your energy would be welcome there. Yeah. And that's what one of the facilitators said. He's like, yeah, if you feel like just move, like do what your body wants to do. I was like, oh, thank you for saying that, because I needed to hear that, because I didn't know either. I'm like, am I just confined to this space? But it's meant to be a very inward journey, and to not distract other people that are around you, even though from my experience with other people that were there, like sounds just come out of people that they don't even don't have control over. And this is kind of when people start purging. So purging is a big part of the experience, and purging can manifest in a lot of different ways. Like the first one that people probably think of is puking, and you have your own little puke bucket, the purge bucket that just sits. Yeah.
I was gonna ask, I'm like, can you run to the bathroom, or you're just doing everything right there? Like,
yeah. That's what I thought too. I was like, am I just like, what's gonna happen? And there is the facilities are attached to the Maloka, so it's like you can get up. It's dark, so you have like, we all had our own headlamp, and to not distract others, we kind of like covered it to just provide just enough light to get you to the door, which then goes to the bathroom. So people were getting up and going. And if you just needed to puke, people just did it right there. So you're like sitting and you're hearing sounds of blah, blah, blah. And I only puked one time and that was I think it was in the first ceremony. But yeah, so puking is a part of a purge. You could, and this is like meant to cleanse the body. It can come out in tears. I definitely had tears at certain points. It always seemed to happen towards the end for me. It can come out in yawning.
That's like
so like people are like,
oh, spirit.
Like big yawns.
Yeah, like when you're yawning.
Yeah.
I wish
you want to elaborate more on
I
that?
just I don't know who told me or where. Yeah, no, when I was getting Reiki work done the other week, and I was telling my Reiki teacher certain things that were really resonating with me, and then I'd be like, and she's like, I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, you're connected, you're yawning. And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. So I just learned that. So I guess what my takeaway was with, just like if you're connecting or something resonates, then you're yawning. That's all I got right now, but hopefully I can learn more.
Cool. Because I didn't know that was a part of the like purging. That was my first time hearing it too. So just curious, what your experience was with it. And so those are different ways people can purge. And so my first experience, it was like pretty simple. Like I was just like sitting there with my eyes closed. The maestros are singing these like really powerful songs, and I'm just sitting in the dark, and I like didn't really feel anything, and I was just like, okay, like just wanted to, I was just like trusting the medicine's doing what it needs to do. And then I fell asleep. I was so tired, and like I have these thoughts of, am I supposed to sleep? I don't know. Like, I just don't know. And I was like, whatever. I laid down and fell asleep, and then that's when I had these like kind of on the verge of like that waking life and dream life, where it was like blended. And that's my first ceremony was very much about Phil, my partner. Because my intention going into this whole experience was to just dive deeper into understanding relationship and how to be in a long-term committed relationship. I do not have an example of that from my immediate parents growing up, and so I wondered, like Phil and I have been together for 5 years, and it's a beautiful relationship.
I love Phil.
As you know.
Is Phil there? Is he working?
Yes. He's in the other room working. He's like on call right now, and I was like, just so you know, it's okay, like, if you make sounds in the background, and like if you make an accidental appearance, it's okay. And he was like, okay. So he's back there somewhere.
Have Phil on another live call, because he's just great.
I know.
Like this is the start of our live calls. But so you fell asleep,
and
were you dreaming, or do you remember, like, did you wake up like it was daytime, or was it more like a nap? Like, what was that like?
It was like a nap, like in and out of napping, and then all of a sudden I kind of like, it's really hard to explain. So the most concrete thing I can explain right now is when I woke up, I just like really welcomed Phil into my heart. And that was a big thing of my intention of just wanting to dive deeper into my relationship with him. I was asking for the medicine to like reveal anything from my unconscious that is holding me back in any way from fully, truly being present and loving him in our relationship. And I mostly was saying, like, I just want to love him as much as he loves me, because And because he's
Yes.
the best. Yeah.
I'm like permanently blushing. I love love so
It,
much. I'm like,
and that's why I love you, because it's just so nice that you can support me and
yes.
yeah, my love for Phil. And because I just see him as like the absolute pure, like physical form of what true love is, the way he just loves me in like those weirdest, ugliest moments where I'm just like, just being so freaking weird, or like my hair's all over the place. I think those are the moments where he's like, he just stops and he's like, "You're the most beautiful human I've ever seen." I'm like, "Are you
And
serious?"
he's always like that. Amazing.
Yeah.
So beautiful. So you were
Yep.
like, you were connecting with unconditional love, which I feel like we're here for. And it's like, can we do
Yeah.
that with all humans? Like hold that space.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that, thank you, Monica, because that is exactly what my intentions were to connect with that unconditional love. And then every day I was asking for, how can I then
Yeah.
transmute that
Yeah.
to all beings around me? And that was at the heart of it, of like, how how can I just always have that space of love for, like, I'm just gonna say it, like had some
Mm-hmm.
difficult neighbor situations, and like their energy is like really close to our house, and sometimes it's just like, yeah, it's hard. And then I recognize I go
Mm-hmm.
into a space of avoidance then, and I avoid those energies. And I was like, I want to be done with avoiding energies, which that's like a very, it serves a purpose, and it doesn't mean that like people who are, you shouldn't just like throw yourself into anybody's
Mm-hmm.
energy or whatever, but just where I'm at in my process, I want to be able to be present in energies and just
Yes.
be at peace,
I always say too,
like
like,
all the time.
because every morning I picture like a golden light and I cover myself, but I'm like protecting my energy, but I want to be able to hold space for others, but not take on all of that because I've gotten like in
Exactly.
trouble with that before. Like all of a sudden I'm feeling anxious and nervous, and I'm like, where is this coming from? Like when you're not like conscious about that, your energy is just spewing out all over the place. You gotta protect it, but then welcome in whoever and just hold that space for people.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's the feminine. That's the beautiful thing of the feminine, of that we're able to, and it can
Mm-hmm.
manifest in any gender. Like it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters like what gender you are or aren't. It's just like, I think we all have a part of feminine in us. Maybe that's more dominant in you, maybe it's less dominant. And I'm in a space right now where I'm just like
Yes.
feeling the feminine, and I just like want that to bloom and blossom even more. And what I see with the feminine is like that ability to, yeah, that we can still have capacity and hold space for those, and like have compassion and forgiveness and love, even when someone's like, their energy is
Because
really
they need it the
difficult to be
most.
around.
And just like
And
being
I
in,
know,
I call it right now, I'm like
exactly.
very much in the human experience, like inner city, working in public schools. And it's like a lot of energy and it's really hard. So I feel, but it's good for me. It's like a mirror. It's really hard to like hold that space for everyone. But when I do, it's this incredible feeling. It's like if I could act it out, it's like, come here. Like you can rest here. Like I want people to be able to just like
Oh,
rest because the collective energy is pretty intense. So it's just like we need more resting, safe spaces for people. And you don't need, it's not this magical thing. It's like recognizing it in another human. We all have it, you know? So
oh.
that's my hope that everybody just comes into like, oh, like there's the thing that keeps coming through for me too is like there's enough for everybody. We're in like this beautifully, like incredibly abundant time where there is enough for everyone. So like, yeah, like everybody can have their best life and just we just need more love and support. And it starts with recognizing that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's you can do it at any time. And it's hard to maintain, like it's an everyday thing. Or some days I'm like, oh, okay, like it's a humbling practice, but I'm glad that you are feeling that in your ceremonies just over there.
And I think that's a good point too, that it's like you don't have to be on ayahuasca to have these experiences. And like that's another big reason why I wanted to have you be one of the first people I talk about it with, was like you haven't done ayahuasca before, and yet I still feel like you can fully understand and relate.
Totally. And that brings me to my other
about.
point of just like, I also still can't see my face, by the way. It's okay.
Oh man.
I don't know why it's so okay. What was I gonna say? Or lost it. Look at me not being present. What were we just talking about?
You were like, that brings me to my other point.
Oh yeah. No, like I'm recognizing even more and more that we are all, I wrote this in my notes, and you could do it either way. It's like we're all on the same path, but we're having different journeys. So it doesn't like you needed to go and do that, and like I need to be here right now. And I think if we stop glamorizing too people's experiences and just being like, what do I need to do for myself? Because yeah, I have a lot of different friends in different places, but we all have this similar connection of what's going on, but we're having these different experiences. So it's like, yeah, like I haven't, and maybe I will try it, but like that wouldn't make sense for me right now, and it makes sense for you. And it's like honoring that. Like that's so beautiful that you're listening to yourself and that you're doing that work. And I'm just doing it in different ways, and we're all doing it in different ways. It doesn't have to look one way or the other. It's like find what works for you and be loving towards yourself while you're doing that.
Exactly.
Mic drop. Okay.
Bye. So I want to go back to some of the experiences with the ayahuasca, like so being able to, that was like my big part of my first experience, was like just welcoming Phil into my heart, and just that's when I began to cry. That's like what broke me, I think. That's what and it was like way towards the end. Like originally you asked like how long. I think I just talked about how long it takes to kick in. Overall, the ceremony is like 5 to 6 hours, and it's not rigid. It's, you know, the maestras, they read how the group is doing based off how the group is. Maybe it's going to be 7 hours. Maybe it's only 4 hours. So for us, most nights it was like 5, 6, 7 hours, I think. Which I mean, like time is like what when you're on it, but
that's probably
when you're ingesting it, but
it just doesn't exist. Like time. That's why I'm hoping we're all going to come into. It's like time is just not even a thing, and it probably felt expansive and beautiful, and like you had all the time. And
that's the feminine. It's not linear. You can't put a box. Even like before going into this call, I was like, it felt so weird. I was like, it felt even weird to kind of like plan something with you. Like, I was like, I just don't want to tell Monica anything. I just like don't want to put her like beauty into this box. Like, we need to do it at this time. We have to like make sure you do this. Like I did say like, oh, make sure your phone's charged and you have good internet.
No, that's good.
And that was like, I was like, okay,
I will be in my house and my phone's on 1%, and I'm like, what? Wow. So those were both good reminders. I will always take a good reminder. What time? Speaking about time, but like, so you didn't have like, did you not have a watch or anything? Like it was just like, did the sun go down and you took it type of thing? Because, sorry.
Yeah, so it was dark out, and then, but like you could have a watch if you wanted, but I don't like, so based off the first ceremony, I didn't realize like I just loved how relaxed everything was. Like and again, that was the feminine. This was led by a woman, and I could just feel she just didn't have these like rigid boundaries or like control on how we needed to be or what our experience needed to be. And I asked her if I could bring my phone into the next ceremony to record it, and I could not believe she said yes. So I actually have 2 of the ceremonies recorded on like a voice memo. They're like 9 hours long, and so it has all the
Wow.
songs and the sounds of the jungle, and I'm just so grateful I have that, because I was like, oh, isn't that going to be bad energy to
Mm.
like bring my phone in there? And she's like, you won't even remember that you
I
have your
love
phone.
that.
I
And
was like,
like, yeah,
okay,
I
so
think that's like beautiful that you can have that too and reflect on it when you need to and maybe eventually share it. But that's like what our phones are beautiful tools.
hmm
Like, you know, they don't always have to be this like kind of thing. So that's awesome that you were able to do that. And I'm thinking too, it's I didn't know that your ceremonies were in the evening. You told me like I think I maybe looked once at your schedule, but I would just be hanging out at home at night and then it would literally be like time for Abby, like a little voice, like time to like send a message. And it was mostly always in the evening that I got that. And it would be for like 5 to 10 minutes. But one of the times I think you said you felt like maybe a little like uncomfortable or anxious and you felt like a calming presence, but I like felt that in my body over here. Like I was like hanging out and then all of the sudden, I don't know if I was like making music or drawing, but all of a sudden this like really like uncomfortable nervousness came through my body and I just like connected it and like breathed and I was like, oh. But then to hear you say that, I was like, that's fucking cool. Like we were feeling each other from
wow.
afar and yeah, it's just cool to have that confirmation of like how connected that we all really are. I was crying when I was reading your messages
It's
about how you like felt me because obviously that's I wanted you to like feel the love, but I had no idea. I would just get these things, write them down, like send it to you and then move on type of thing. Like it felt like a sacred space for you and then I would like shake it off type of things. So we're just capable of so much as humans. So much. And I don't think this is not
mm-hmm.
magical. Like anybody can do this. It just takes like tuning in, taking care of yourself, believing in it. It comes from a place of just like only support. That's that that's like I feel like that's our friendship. It's like I only have love for you. That's it. Like nothing else and you're like we're all just yeah. But I felt that one time specifically, but there were a few, I think I don't remember, maybe 2 or 3 days where I didn't connect or say anything, but I just did it organically, like when it wasn't like a timed thing. It just kind of felt it and yeah. So I'm glad you felt it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, because yeah, I love that you bring that all up, because yeah, ahead of time I asked you like, hey, can we
Mm-hmm.
telepathically connect? I'm gonna need you. And then I was like asking, should we set a time? And I loved that you were like secure enough in yourself to say, no, I can't do it.
Uh,
Like, I'm not going to do it on a time. I'm going to just have it come
oh yeah.
organically. I'm like,
I
cool, that's
forgot that I
Monica.
even said
You
that.
know,
Well, honestly
that's, yeah.
too, like it's I
Mm-hmm.
love hearing your experience too because I'm very much in like in a very timed like masculine energy like with my work and like job and so anytime that I don't have to be so constricted on the clock, I will not be. So like after work like yeah putting the phone down not even looking at the time because during school it's like okay like everything is so masculine and rigid and just like we do this at this time and I'm like and I but my friend and I and I'm going to say this because I was so excited about this connection we had the other day. It's like you can opt out of an experience and be in it at the same time. So like I am in the education system that's a whole nother topic, but it's like very clearly crumbling. But I'm opting out of certain things. Like I'm opting out of being so rigid. I'm opting out of stress. Like I don't have to take all of that on. And that can go for any time in our lives. Like, can you just, if you don't want to do something, you don't have to. You can opt out of that. And I've just been preaching that all over. People will say something and like, you can opt out of that. You don't have to do that. And they're like, oh, but that was just, yes.
That's
Yeah.
an
It's like, you don't have
option.
to be,
Yeah.
then like if I took all of that on, I would just start building resentment and I couldn't even do my job or like be present with my students. So yeah, just like opting out. That's been my theme. Yes, and my
And
friend
doing what's right
said,
for you.
because I was frustrated the other week. I'm just like, I feel like I'm so constricted by a clock. Like, this feels so made up. Like, I'm looking at the time. I'm like, who the fuck cares about the time? And I was feeling a little rebellious. And she's like, how about you follow your internal clock more? And I was like, oh shit, that resonates a lot more. So I've been working on following that, which is, again, more
Yeah.
feminine and sounds like more of your experience. And so it makes me happy that you're having because like that's what I want to like come more into, the feminine, the soft, like time really doesn't matter. We don't have to be so restricted.
Mm-hmm. And those messages came through so hard in my third ceremony. And I just want to acknowledge Becca. I see. Oh wait, it's a different Becca. But Becca, I saw Becca. Becca, we both know is on there. There's another woman named Becca on here asking some questions.
I didn't even know you could see.
Yeah, you can. So you can like, and people have asked, I don't know what it looks like on your end, but some people have asked questions. I'll come back to. I see those questions, and there will be a time where
no, it's literally what I see on my end is my forehead and your full face. Yeah, that's all.
Good.
Glad. Oh, okay, yeah, continue. I'm here. I'm listening.
So I just want to I want to get to the meat of what or the quinoa, you know, whatever you eat, but of my experience. And the second ceremony, so the bovine sauna that I was drinking every day, it's not like a hallucinogenic or anything. It's like it's a pink. Yeah, when I told one of my friends about how I would be drinking like 2 plant medicines, she's like, shit, you're gonna be tripping all the time then? She's like, damn. And I was like, I have no idea. Like, I just really have no idea. And so this plant is a very gentle bovine sauna. It's a pink liquid. So it's like this like hibiscus tea color. And I was just like, yes, like this is what, like, it's just so feminine. And it was just very subtle. Like I I would drink it 3 times a day. I was instructed by one of the healers there, like you drink it right when you wake up at noon and then at 5 p.m. And which again wasn't rigid. You know, sometimes I would have it at 1 or like 6. And but yeah, it was just based off how long I was swimming in the river and if I would come back to my casita where my medicine was to drink it on time. But yeah, so it was like what I felt from the bovine sauna was, oh my God, best meditations and yoga flows I have ever had. Like my mind was so clear and relaxed, which is why like I love my mind and my mind is generally in that state anyway. So it took me a while to notice that was like the physical effect of the bovine sauna. Like it was just like, oh, my breath was so at ease.
That is
like big,
beautiful.
Nice belly breath. It was like all day, every day. And then, yeah, just ultimate presence. Like my mind wasn't anywhere else, like thinking about stuff. It was just so at ease and like, cool, here I am hanging in the jungle. And so then pairing that with the ayahuasca just like allowed that to blossom even more. And so my second ceremony, which was the one that I would definitely dedicate to you. That was the big one that I drank the medicine. Also, I had 2 cups the first time. So there's a moment, like I think they say it's 3 hours in, and where they offer you if you want a second cup.
Yeah,
which is like a big decision to make. It's like, do I have more?
Second cup of ayahuasca or the other one? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying.
Did you take
second cup of ayahuasca? And yes. So the first time I did, because I wasn't really feeling anything, and then the first time, I took the second cup, and then that's when I purged and just like puked into my bucket, and then that's when I like welcomed Phil in and had tears, and it was just beautiful. And that's where I had the insight that I shared in my last slide of my latest post of just like, it feels so much better to be in a space of love. Like it sounds so simple, but truly to activate that and to stand in that, to like it can be easy to get caught up in judgments and like picking on people, and like that's like the shadow side I see of the feminine, of jealousy and putting other women down, and doesn't have to be women, but that's just like, I'm a woman speaking from a woman experience. And so then it's like okay, we can get caught up in that, but like it just feels so much better
like,
to
that
not
shit
do
is so
that.
old and boring. Like it doesn't work. It never has.
Right.
I love.
So that was like that was like a big thing I got that first night. And then the second night, that was when you kind of touched on this earlier outside of this video call. I had texted you and told you there was a moment where I started to feel just like really uncomfortable. And I intentionally wore, so in my latest post, you can see the dress I wore during ceremonies, the white dress. I intentionally wore a dress that was like open in the heart space. And that's like a very vulnerable space in the body. And I even thought like, oh, I want to be comfy. Maybe I'll like wear a shirt that really covers up that part of my body. And I was like, no, I'm going to challenge myself, and I want to like have more of a swoop.
There
just, like,
it is.
open.
I love it.
Yeah.
Also, that dress is beautiful, by the way. I was like, okay. Oh, I love it.
It's from Free People, if anyone wants to order it online. It's super comfy. Yeah, I was like, what clothing do I wear for an ayahuasca ceremony? I like Googled that ahead of time. I'm like, I don't know.
Google has all the answers.
And that was the one. Right.
No,
And so yeah, that second ceremony, so I was like, there's a moment where the maestro comes around and they individually bless you. It's so freaking cool. It's like something out of the movie. They're like, they got like the feathers on their head, and they blow sacred tobacco. They call it mapacho, and that's like a masculine protection energy. And they say it pairs really well with the feminine grandmother ayahuasca energy. And so they go around and like individually they smoke this mapacho sacred tobacco, and they like blow it on your crown, blow it on your heart space, like blow it all over your body. They're just like cleansing, protecting, sealing the energy. And there was a moment where it was a male that came around. He's wonderful, super safe man. Just in that moment, I was super vulnerable under the influence of the medicine, and he blew the sacred tobacco on my chest. And that's when things start. I haven't verbalized this yet, so this is my first time talking about this, so thank you for being here. And I'm standing on one leg. I'm actually in tree pose.
That's amazing. Right I'm sitting on a yoga block
like,
and a pillow by my front window, because this is the best lighting. As well. Walking around the house like, nice. Oh, we're about to go. Okay, looking good right here.
Yep. Same. And so yeah, he blew the smoke on my chest, and then that's when I just started to feel so awkward. Like, oh my God. I felt awkward because, I mean, I don't know if I can put like a definite reason to it, but just in that moment, his English isn't super clear. So it like, he told me to spread my arms. He was like, spread your arms, spread your arms. And I was like, what? I'm all like, yeah, under the influence, there's like sounds going on, and like people are puking, and there's like all this stuff going on. And he's like, spread your arms, spread. And I was like, what are you saying? He's like, spread your arms. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay.
And so it's probably just like my insecurity in the moment of just like, I don't know what you're saying. And then you're like blowing it in a really freaking vulnerable space. And so then things started to take a turn. And then like he blew it on my body, he blessed me, and then he moved on. But I did not. So I was like sitting there, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like really stuck in my head. I was like, I feel so awkward. This was probably like the honestly the most negative part of any of my experiences. People had way darker stuff, but this was overall I had a pretty
What was
easy,
the
beautiful
timeline
experience. This was like
for this? Like
oh,
what
go ahead.
what ceremony was this? Okay.
This was second ceremony, so my second time halfway through the week in the evening,
Okay.
like 4 hours in. And so I'd already been like feeling it, and then yeah, I was just like, oh my god, like oh my, you're just so stuck in. And I think this can be a parallel towards like a moment people feel
Mm-hmm.
not under the influence of ayahuasca. So just that moment of like, what the hell, oh my god, this is so uncomfortable, that was really weird, I don't know how I feel about this person, that was, oh my gosh, like, and then I was just like, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, and just super in my head. And then what was the most remarkable moment to call upon was to realize I have people that can be there for me
I just
that
got
aren't in this
goosebumps.
space. And that's, yes, because that's when I called on you. And this was what completely shifted my whole experience for that night, and then even for the rest of my week. And that's when I was just like, I just suddenly realized, I was like, nobody here in this space can comfort me in the way I need to be comforted. And I'm going to ask Monica for help. And that's when I was just like, Monica, come here, Monica, like basically like praying. And I was just like, Monica, can you be here for
Mm-hmm.
me? Like, this is all in my head. And then that's when, this was probably one of the
Mm-hmm.
like first visuals I had. I saw this like swirly, silvery, bluish, like yeah, silvery blue, purple, like
Cool.
thing come in. Yeah, yeah. And it was like,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's when I just was like, I could feel you so much. I was picturing you with like your tattoos and yeah, just all your radiance and your beauty. And I was picturing you next to me, just holding me and like putting your arm around me and just being like, yep,
Oh.
like it's okay. And I just pictured you saying, everything you're feeling is valid, Abby. Like it makes so much sense that you feel this way. And I, yeah, I just like, you just
That's
validated the
so
shit out of me.
beautiful.
And it was, and it was everything I needed in that moment, and such a reminder, which you wrote down in the messages that you mailed to me, that you wrote down a message before we've even talked about this. You wrote down, you're not meant to do it
Mm-hmm.
alone. It said something like, you're not, like, yeah, you can call on people to help, including me, meaning you. And I was like,
I
that's
love
exactly what I
that.
did. And like, that's what I need to hear, because so much of my life I've felt like I haven't really had a teacher or a adult human that I really looked up to and was like, wow, I want to be like you, or like, you're a really good example of how I want to be in life. So for ever since I was little, I've been just really building who I want to be. And I used the examples of, I had the representation of
Mm-hmm.
who I don't want to be. Like that was what I saw in my life. I was like, I know how I don't want to be. I know I see these behaviors. I see how, honestly, as my parents, like how they act. And I was like, I don't want to be like that. And I'm not going to be like that. This ends with me. Like this generational trauma ends right here. And I'm going to create the
Yes.
life that I want. And so that propelled me into this whole, yeah, just like kind of like Abby being on her own sort of thing. And it's been not until recently where I've really found people that I actually look up to and I'm like, oh, you're
Mm-hmm.
someone I want to be like, or like you are a good example of communication and how to have conflict and yeah, all that stuff. But so that comes back to just, yeah, that was a very monumental thing for me to have, to call on you and to have you be there for me and to go outside of myself, because I'm so often on this
Mm-hmm.
inner journey with my meditation and yoga and all that stuff, and to just really expand and realize there are people living and dead who are present for me and that I can call upon. And then all of a sudden, from that's when I just started
Oh.
bawling, like
Oh.
weeping.
My dog's
And
face.
I love crying. So I was like,
Yeah,
whenever
he's
oh, is that
stealing the
Brew
spotlight
in
right
there?
now. Okay,
Nice. He
say
is welcome
hello.
here.
Just yeah, yep, there we go.
Nice.
Okay, there's a
And
lot.
yeah, just to have you there, and then I don't know where I was going with that, but oh yeah, that's when I just started like crying super hard, and then just feeling, that's when I felt so grateful for you, and just pictured your presence in the Maloka. I pictured you, and you're just like blonde hair and like this light, like golden light around you, just like do do do, just going all around the whole space. And I was like, everyone here would love Monica. Like, who would not
So
love
nice.
Monica? And I was like, she's the coolest. And and it's like I could allow that
Mm-hmm.
to be jealousy. You know, I could allow that to be, oh, I wish I were like Monica, or why am I not like her, or why can I not have a light like hers? And instead, is like in that moment, it was pure appreciation and love, and just like, oh, like just so convinced that everyone
It's so
needs to
nice.
know Monica, and that's when the phrase came to me,
Oh,
every girl needs a Monica. And I really liked using the word girl too, because I was like, I just, I don't know, that felt really good in the moment. And just, yeah, every girl needs a Monica. And what that means is like every girl, every woman, every human, whatever, needs to have someone in their life that fully appreciates, uplifts, is present for you, loves you, and can put their own bullshit aside and celebrate you in all the beauty that you are, and to be able to appreciate the moments where you are in your radiance, even if
yes.
maybe I'm not. So it's like to be grounded and secure enough in yourself to be able to witness someone you love or don't even know very well, and to be able to be like, I fully am
Yeah.
happy for you. I can appreciate you even if I'm in this like crappy job right now, or but I recognize you're not and you're freaking killing it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's awesome. And it was like, so that message was huge, where I was just like, everyone needs at least one person that does this for them, because I feel I can do that for you, and I feel you do that for me, where like you compliment me physically and like mentally, emotionally, like all of it. And it's just, it's been so refreshing for me in our relationship, because it made me realize how
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that in a lot of other relationships, and how
Yeah.
rare that is, to have another woman like fully love me and appreciate me and admire me in that way is something I think is sacred and needed.
Amen to all of that. So beautiful. I feel like I say I love that. I've said that like 20 times, but yeah, that's beautiful. And I feel the same way. Like,
And that
and
was
I feel like,
huge.
yeah, we just need support and love and appreciation. And it comes back to like, there's enough for everybody. And that's not just one thing, money, time. It's like, there's enough beauty, there's enough everything. And when you tune into that, you don't want to get out of it. You know, it's like I'm gonna stay here in the loving space because this feels a lot better. Like,
Right.
why would I? Yeah, the other stuff just doesn't feel good. Like, just doesn't serve me
Right.
anymore. Yeah,
It sucks.
no thanks. Opting out.
And that doesn't mean we're not going to feel that and like dismiss those feelings of realizing that you're in that space. It's just like, I want to cultivate more of that love and have
Exactly.
that grow, and to like acknowledge the shadow, the darkness, and then to embrace and step into and
Yeah,
expand
and I
the
love.
light.
I feel like you. I mean, you were just like so. I've just been talking about you to different people, just like, well, actually, I was talking to my dad about it yesterday, but like, I feel like you entered in so grounded and like um, you had to do a lot of prep before going to like your diet. And I just feel like that dedication just shows like you just had this beautiful experience and you really prepared yourself for it. Um, and that's amazing. Like you were just so dedicated. Because I mean, I was listening to you. I was like, you didn't sneak a little bit of sugar in there, like, like not a little brownie, just like, no, Oh, yeah, but like look what like
Nope.
you followed through and you did that and you're well like I guess my interpretation, which is what I want to keep leaning into, is like you cleared your channel and you are continuing to clear your channel, and when you do that in various ways, you're more connected with spirit and yeah, having these beautiful experiences, having those little fish all around you and like it's just amazing. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's just how do you did you feel like do you feel like you're able like you're maintaining this experience, or has it been like a roller coaster like after you got back? Because I guess like we both used to do wilderness therapy, right? Like you're in the field and then you're out of the field, and it's transition spaces can be hard. And so how has like the transition been?
Thank you
Yes.
for asking that. And yeah, maybe to plant just a quick
Mm-hmm.
seed, like that's how you and I know each other. We moved to the big island of Hawaii at the
Mm-hmm.
very same time. And on like the almost exact same day or within a few days in
Mm-hmm.
2017. And like June, was it
July, yep.
June, July? And uh yeah, so that's just crazy. We moved to this
I
freaking rock in the
literally,
middle
yep,
of the big Pacific
yep. I
Ocean, and we lived in
wanted
the
to be your
same
friend
house.
immediately. I was like, who's that?
Yep. It's like this chick is
Same.
cool, and but yeah, we moved there for a wilderness therapy program that works with at-risk teenagers, and I'm so grateful for that foundation because a big part of that program was to teach us about the integration process. Like we were students in that program along with being guides for the at-risk teenagers. Like all of us were there to learn, and but also to lead among the students too. They had plenty of opportunities to just sit and learn and then to
Mm-hmm.
lead their own groups and stuff. But um, yeah, so and that kind of goes back to a woman that she asked a question: do you feel like ayahuasca changed the way you tune in with yourself, or do you notice a change with your closeness to your higher self? So I feel like that kind of comes back to this like integration of um, I've been I've been good. Yeah, I've been really good.
Amazing.
So it hasn't really been wavering. Oh god, there's so many things to talk about, but something that I am connect. So the facilitator told us that the dieta, the experience, the diet, the 2 week retreat, it doesn't just end. Like, okay, we're here in this 2 weeks, and then now
Right.
I'm enlightened or whatever. It's like I see it as a lifelong path. And she also mentioned that you're going to still feel the effects of the medicine, whether that's like the bobine sana I drink every day or the ayahuasca. And I honestly feel like it has, I really feel connected to it and feel like it's channeling through me even more now I'm back home than I was in Peru, where there was still just like the newness of everything. And I was like doing really intense hiking for 5 days. Like we summited a
Wow.
15,200-foot mountain with like glaciers, and we were camping. And my intention with doing that after the 2 week ceremony was to just connect with Pachamama, to connect with the land, to connect with Peru, the energy of the land, where these plants grow. And then now that I'm back in my home space, where I'm just like back in my or just coming back to my daily routine, I have just been like giving up doing time-oriented stuff, and I consider what's productive to just sing
Love
for the
that.
whole day. So like the other day, like I felt like I guess I'm still exploring my voice and stuff, and that's been a whole journey for me. As when I was younger, I felt my
Mm.
voice was very silenced, and so yeah, it's been a journey coming back to that. And I was singing from my womb. Like I was just standing in the center of my living room and just singing from like the
Woo!
depths of my freaking womb. And it was these sounds. Yeah, these sounds were coming out that I have never, and
Yeah.
luckily I recorded it. And I was like, wait. And I just like hit the record button. And which I realized I really like voice memos because when I've been doing a lot of video recording and I'm like, it's nice to just
Mm-hmm.
have the voice and not have the like video in the way. Like that's what I need
Yeah,
to not be distracted because then I'm like looking at myself and stuff.
I feel
And which
yeah.
is cool. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I just need the voice part of it. And I was, yeah, just like channeling these like deep womb sounds. And I'm like, whoa, these are like the sounds, like it just reminded me of like ancestral sounds of
Mm.
comfort. Like I pictured like a sick person and I was like, these are the healing sounds to like comfort a sick body, to just like sing over someone with these deep womb sounds. And then I was using my whole body. Like I was like, okay, the voice is down here. And then I like pictured the voice in my stomach and like I was going through the chakras and like and I pictured the voice coming out of my heart and then pictured it coming out of my throat and then pictured it coming out of my head and then like all over me. And so I was just like using all these vocal ranges that I had not played
Cool.
around with. And yeah, I think I needed the permission to recognize that it doesn't have to come out in words. And that's another thing, like being in the head, like so much of the music I sing to myself, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course, like lyrics are incredible and beautiful. I have focused so much on lyrics, and like this was one of my first times just making sounds, like, just like whatever noise, and like I needed that non-linear just sound to come. I'm sure that anyone who's done vocal work or like voice coach or anything, this is like common knowledge. And but for me, this just was coming to me to like, yeah, just embrace what parts of my body make these certain sounds. So that's been like a part of my integration back. And so I would say it's been like, yeah, mostly highs and or not even like super
Yeah,
high, but just like a
grounded.
good,
And
you
just
know,
like and I think too, like
yeah,
allowing yourself,
grounded.
it's like I can live like this. Like I can just feel like this all the time. That's what we're here for. It doesn't have to be like so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then in my third ayahuasca ceremony, that was when I got the like ultimate feminine downloads, and that was the most. I
Mm.
only had one cup that night because that is all I needed, and I think it was intense for everybody in the room. And because the day after you have ceremony, even though we're in our solitude, the following day after ayahuasca ceremonies, everyone had like 5 to 10 minutes to talk about what their experience was the night before, which is so important for that integration process.
Mm-hmm.
And to just be like witnessed fully in what your experience was, and then to hold that space for other people who are telling their story too. And so I didn't realize, so they say like one of the pillars of ayahuasca is critical thinking. So you can use, this medicine can be used, it can be used to like connect with the spirit, or it can also be used as a very like critical thinking, which I did not realize because I just thought it was this like, whoa, this like big thing that's floating out there. And I was glad they had taught us about that because I realized that's what I was accessing. Like I definitely think I had access to parts of my brain that we don't, I mean, maybe we have access to it, but it just made it
Mm-hmm.
way easier to approach aspects of my life from a very objective point of view and to like solve all my problems. So I just started like, first I started thinking of all these like, it just became so apparent to me how much of a masculine world we live in, and I do not want that to be to put down the masculine. And just recognizing that it's been out of balance, and how I was like, where is the room for the feminine in this everyday life? Like, where is there room for me to just like have my period
Mm-hmm.
and not go to work and like have that be okay and not have to explain it to anyone? Or yeah, where's the space to just take a whole week off to
Yes.
bleed? Or where's the space to like, yeah, I just pictured like, I was like, I don't want to go to a meeting and have to be there at the exact time and then it ends at the exact same time, or like it begins at 1 and ends at 1:55 and it only is within this time frame. And then to have to plan. Like I just pictured like
Yeah.
how I operate. Like I go to the meeting and then I think of the five things I need to say in this meeting, and that does not mean those things are wrong. It's just like to recognize how dominant that type of living has been. And Ross is like, yeah, like it's like I just want to be in my full feminine and just stand in front of a crowd and not plan what I'm going to say and just let it, yeah, be non-linear and just come out fully from the heart and from my whole body. That's why I'm standing intentionally with this call too. I just wanted to like have all of it come
Yes.
through my whole body when I talk. And yeah, and just like it doesn't have to always make sense, or like maybe you say something here and then you kind of go around like this for a little bit and then maybe then you come back over here. And so yeah, just like that felt really potent to recognize just how masculine driven. And also like I have my own business, so I have to like, there are moments where I have to be in that masculine role and play that masculine. And I started questioning, even like with my life coaching certification, they taught us how important it is to follow the time schedule, which I understand that is very important, and to have that integrity and the reliability that comes with it. And they're like, you know, you need to make your boundaries clear with, like, if you say it's a 55-minute session, it needs to be 55 minutes. And I agree with that to a certain extent. And I have clients who are like on the brink of profound realizations right at the like 53-minute mark.
Exactly.
And I am not going
Keep
to
it
cut you
going.
off during that. You know, like, yeah, just like, and that's why that's how I set myself up to allow like 30 minutes to an hour rather than just booking people back to back, which cool, maybe that makes more money. But for me, I like to allow that space of like something to come up. And I had my first client since being back from Peru the other day, and that is exactly what happened. And I had, like, we had finished our 1 hour call, and it was really awesome. I love working with this person, and we've been working for a few months together now. And then all of a sudden, like we opened up the last hour to just talk about all these other things. Like he wanted to hear about my Peru experience, and that's where I was like, okay, where is like the role of the life coach? Do I like maintain that role and be like, okay, the call ends now? Or do I like just lean into the fact that I'm human and like allow an extra hour to talk to this person because they're curious to hear about my ayahuasca and Peru experience? And I was like, this is exactly what my ayahuasca download was to like embrace these moments and to allow them to flower. And then, but I also had the capacity where I know myself and I set myself up for that, where I was like, I'm not going to book a bunch of people in this first week back. I'm going to work with this one person, just take one client this day. And so then I had the space to like just be human with them. And that was so refreshing and so
That's
nice.
amazing. When you're saying this, I have this written somewhere in my classroom, but I listen to a lot of Ram Dass, and he said, your freedom lies within your humanity. It's like the more human you allow yourself to be. Like we are both spirit and humans. Like find that balance and groundedness, and like what you're saying is just reminding me of that, and just allowing that, like, yeah, not cutting it off and being like, oh, 50, we have 2 more minutes, like we better wrap it up. It's like, oh, it sounds like there's a lot more to talk about, and like giving yourself that mantra, like I do have the space for this, I do have the capacity, I do have the time. Like what even, yeah, I love all of that, and that's what I want to come more into as well. That's what I want. That's how I want everybody to live. I just think it'd be a lot better. Just, yeah, not being, it's just, yeah, it's crazy like how much we live by this false clock. It's like, let's just talk. And like, if something comes up, great. And like, if not, great. Just allowing the space. I I just absolutely love that. Like that is what you got out of it. Did you guys, like, in your ceremonies, did you share about it, or was it very like was it more of like a personal experience in a group setting? Like, or did you like talk about it after? Like, what was your experience? Like, what was the group? What was it like having an individual experience in a group setting? Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, it was a very personal thing. And what's interesting that I've noticed about ayahuasca is that, which could turn someone off because, you know, I think we're in this age of like, let it out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like say, which is amazing. We're like coming forth with like, stop holding it in. You need to just talk about it. And like we're saying now, just being human. But in the ayahuasca space, you need to be conscious of the people around you. And if you do have these like really outward moments, the healer might come around and just be like, hey, try
Mm-hmm.
to, you know, like just go
Yeah,
inward, you know, like it's not
bring
like
it
a
back.
shut up or anything. It's just like a, just remember to
Mm-hmm.
come back to your, yeah, just come back to your individual experience. And I thought, since, you know, I'm sensitive to people's energies, and I thought it was going to be too much. And there's moments where it did feel like too much, where like they're singing the songs and I'm hearing all these like moaning, and it is like, it becomes its own concert. And uh, there was a moment where I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is just too much. But overall, it was what, I mean, and this was something I was praying for every day, like I mentioned earlier, of just being able to be at ease with energies around me. And that was very much happening, where I was just like, it was so comforting to like hear
Yeah,
someone vomit. Because I
let
was like,
it
hell
out.
yeah, like you are
Those are
letting
the
it
like
out.
fist bump.
Yeah, like you, that's happening to you right now. And that means that we are both feeling the medicine. And because we couldn't talk at all to each other, so it was like, that was kind of like a physical way of just like hearing that, oh yeah, I'm not alone in this. I'm with a group of, like, I had overwhelming moments of gratitude toward the people I was with in the group, where I was like, holy crap, we are all in this sacred space together. I deeply, deeply admire all these strangers in this room who became less than strangers as the week went on. But early on, just like, I cannot believe that this group of 10 people have come here to work on themselves and are devoted enough to have to put their busy lives aside, travel all the way to Peru, pay for this program. This wasn't a cheap program. And to